living the dream? It's time for truth. This is the place for tools, power, and real talk so you can create the life you dream and deserve. Your ultimate life. Subscribe, share, create. You have infinite power.
Have you ever felt like you've been abandoned? Like the thing you were chasing and absolutely sure you wanted suddenly changes. Your motivation's gone, your heart is broken, and you wonder why heaven has left you hanging. I want to talk about today that particular feeling. I want to talk about that, and I call it when your calling goes silent. And you can see the background I have when that feeling, the thing that was motivating you and moving you forward, and it felt like it was so important and it would last you forever, and you're absolutely certain you were doing the right thing. And then either suddenly or gradually, it just sort of fades. That's a terrifying feeling. It brings up all kinds of scary ideas. What if I'm stupid? What if it was the wrong thing in the first place? Who the hell did I think I was to be doing that? That's particularly strong if it's something you were really connected to. If you really thought you were adding good to the world in a powerful way, it might have been related to something that happened in your life, and you're motivated and moving forward, and maybe you've done a lot with it. And suddenly, or gradually, but suddenly you notice it's like, holy crap, it's gone. The motivation, the push, the desire. And then it becomes a drag, becomes an obligation. Then words like, people expect me to do this. I'm going to let them down. All that kind of stuff happens. I'd like to talk with you today about why that happens, how it's connected to your ultimate life, and how to do something about it. And perhaps what it really means, not the stories we tell ourselves. Now, this whole podcast, as you know, is about creating your ultimate life, a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy, that you create by serving with your gifts and talents. Now, you've seen me talk about the triple helix, about how you find that purpose, the skills you have, maybe the ones you've sold in the marketplace, the gifts you have, the natural divine gifts you have, and then your life experience, which is what shapes us, right? Especially the hard things where we've chosen to be resilient and stand up and go forward and forgive and love again, and all of the things that the hardships of life teach us. When you weave those together, you find your purpose. And maybe you did that and you're moving forward, and then when it wanes or changes or seems to fade and brings up these questions. So your ultimate life is purpose, prosperity, and joy. And we just now talked about purpose. Prosperity is the natural result of serving with your purpose. Prosperity is the natural outcome of serving with your purpose. Now, often people feel like purposes are these sacred things, and it's wrong to charge money, and certainly not heavy money for those things. That's just not true. When people pay for stuff, they value it more. When you give away stuff, when you got free stuff, often, maybe all the time, it's like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. It's free. I can go back and watch the recording. It doesn't really matter. But when you've invested heavily in something, it's really important. Take care of it. You polish it, wax it, your car, take care of your stereo, whatever it is, right? So getting paid for your life purpose is appropriate. It is maybe essential, because unless you're independently wealthy or you want to just do it on the side because you've got another job, you need to get paid. You need to get paid well. So when you create value with that life purpose, which is humanitarian, loving, lifting, blessing, serving, adding good to the world. That is the point. Your best purpose is that triple helix, your gifts, your talents, your gifts, your skills, and your life experience. That's the thing you can do the most good with and make the most money with, incidentally. So why wouldn't you get paid and get paid well? Okay, that's purpose, prosperity, and of course, prosperity is a lot more than money. But when you're marrying your skills, gifts, and life experience, and you're serving like crazy and getting paid well, that's a recipe for joy. It's a recipe for deep contentment and happiness. Okay, and so there's no question about that, and that is what I've been teaching. It's what all these episodes are about. It's what the LA Talk radio show is about. It's what the books are about. All of them are about either how to heal from brokenness. It's about how to find a purpose and how to change yourself so that you become the owner of your divine self and a generator of fabulous good and prosperity, both in happiness, prosperity in relationships and love and connection to the divine, as well as prosperity in cash. That's what we're doing here, because you're a divine being, so am I. We were built to love and serve. We're built to help each other enjoy life. We're built to create joy. You're built to have happiness, to succeed. And in that process, there's going to be a million bouts of refiner's fire, broken legs, illnesses, difficult things, some things that are unjust. That's all part of the gig. But in doing that, choosing resilience, finding your purpose, serving. And yeah, there's some work in figuring out how to package and present and serve. And there's business design. And there's all the elements of business that you have to master or get somebody to help you with in order to turn your skill, your gift, your life experience into a business. Now, you can also have a job. You can be the very best in that job and choose to make your money that way. And then your divine purpose is how you do that job or what else you do. So there's all kinds of ways to do this, but all of it results in absolutely unbridled, perpetual joy. Now, sometimes it's happened to me, and that's why I'm talking about it. Sometimes when you do all that work and you land on a purpose and you pursue it and it works and you help people and you make money and you're happy about it, when all of the right things and the predicted things and the supposed to things all line up and it happens for you and it goes on for a year or 2 or 10 or 20. There can, in fact, there probably will come a time when your calling goes silent. Meaning that thing that you thought you were going to do for your last breath suddenly feels sour or inadequate or, and then it becomes a drag. And so when that happens, what do? Because you answered the call, you built the business, you changed lives, and now it somehow feels empty. Holy crap. Like your calling ghosted you, right? It's not burnout. You cannot burn out when you're doing your divine calling. You can't, because part of every one of our divine callings is to take care of ourselves. If we don't care for the spirit and the body that we have, we're not actually doing our divine calling, because our divine calling is to honor the container and the spirit that we were given to do that work. So burnout is not the answer. If you're burned out, you're doing it wrong. And that might piss you off. I don't really care. If you get burned out, you're not doing it right, because you're not caring for yourself. You're not honoring the spirit and the body that's yours, the very vehicles that were given to you to do the calling. So it isn't burnout. Okay? Here's what it is. It is a sacred evolution. You are being called to something larger. And it went quiet so that the divine, heaven, the universe, could get your attention and invite you back into the refiner's fire to elevate again. Now, you can refuse. You can say, I'm not willing to go back with a beginner's mindset into the refiner's fire. And it's hot. Get refined again, burn off more dross, learn new stuff. Not really willing to do that. That was so flippin' hard last time. You can do that. But the nagging won't leave you. It will either get numb, you will get angry, frustrated, and lost. You'll wonder why you were abandoned. And your heart will not be happy. It is an evolution. It is an invitation. You have completed your mission as a caterpillar. And it's now time to become a butterfly. And even if you've been through this chrysalis thing once and turned into mush and then regrew as a butterfly once already, it's time to do it again. It's time to re-enter the fire. Now that might scare you, but it's actually an honor. It's an honor because it says what it means is you win. You have completed. Opportunity awaits. The larger view is in front of you, or can be. Something I know from dying in 2018, and I'm not going to talk about those events here, but they're written in detail in a book called Meeting God at the Door. Conversations, Choices, and Commitments of a Near-Death Experience. I had a fatal illness and died and had 3 convos with the divine, the door between life and eternity. And one thing that I learned, one of many in that conversation, was that we all have a calling that we agreed to and were excited about before we came here. And because we grow and change, especially when we answer the initial calls and we grow and change, that calling grows and changes too, because the idea of us being here is continual evolution. It's not just a 3rd grade test and we're done. 3rd, 13, 23rd, 53rd, million third. It is because you're an infinite being, your call to grow is infinite. Right? So you're going to have these repeated challenges because our intent here is to grow, not grow and plateau, but to grow, hang out for a bit, and then grow again and elevate one more time. But elevation every time you want to sharpen the steel, it's got to go back in the fire. It's got to go back in the fire and get burned again, get toasted again, made soft again, made humble again, so it can be pounded again into some more powerful form. Now, if that sounds scary, it is. And something else I learned in those conversations was that all the help we need is available from both sides. This side of the veil or the door to eternity and the other side. My interviews took place at a door, and so I say both sides of that door. But that fundamental truth is what can, if you wanted to, give you both the courage and help you make the choice to go back into the fire. Because if it's time to grow, we can always say, no, I've had enough of this growth crap. I'm finished. I'm just going to hang out and watch Netflix. Okay. If you're a soul of growth and power and you've been through this once, it's not going to last. That's not going to be content very long. You're going to say, screw that. It's going to be hard, but I'm going to do it. Let's go. You're going to do that. I predict it. If you're a chaser of your ultimate life, purpose, prosperity, and joy, you're going to say, hey, not what I expected. More fire, bring it on. But you're going to do it. You're free not to. But your soul won't leave you alone. Your purpose is your purpose. And you can beat it down as long as you want. But it's not going to go away. You have gifts, you have talents, you have a reason. And it often requires refining multiple times. No, it can't be all done at once. Just can't. I look at my own life as an example of all these things I teach because it's so true for me. I couldn't possibly have had all the refining I needed at once. Not in any universe. It had to happen in stages. And it has. And now that I see the pattern, I expect it will. In fact, I'll tell you right now, a month ago, and this is now 18 years since I started on this in 2007, 18 years of this, a month ago, the call came. Now, it doesn't always come with your calling going silent, like, oh dear, I've been doing the wrong thing, but it came with a thunderclap, a thought, and then a powerful invitation and direction to expand, to grow, to do something new, to put something on my plate I had never intended to put on my plate. And if you watch socials and stay with me, you'll see what it is. It's something I had not only not intended to do, but told myself I would not do. Did not want to, didn't want to. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about it right now. I have been called to create your Ultimate Life Coaching University. And here's why and why now. About 6 weeks ago, I realized that AI, in 18 to 24 months, AI is going to put 95% of coaches out of business. And the reason is because it's getting so good, so powerful, so fast, so empathetic, so able to read and speak intelligently and capably that any coach that isn't an extraordinary coach, top 5%, you're done. You're going to be gone. That's a terrifying thought, and it's probably scaring the crap out of you if you're a coach. And so the question isn't, oh no, run for the hills. Well, it could be. The question is, how do I get to be in that 5%? Who do I need to be so that my results, my clients, and my work in my heart is in the 5%? There's a story about the steam hammer in mines. And there was a fabled hammer guy, John Henry, and just an enormous guy of massive proportions and heroic, the strength of legend. And the way that they used to do this particular kind of mining was they would take a shaft and pound it into the wall and then put explosives in there and then blow out stuff. And the pounding, that's where these great big, John Henry and others, hammer swingers, and they swung, I think, a 16-pound hammer. Anyway, they brought in a steam hammer that was going to do it. And, like any change, the miner said, no, it'll never replace us, etc. So there is a fabled competition. I don't know if it actually happened. It's been memorialized in song between John Henry and the steam hammer. And, the story goes differently, but ultimately, obviously, the steam hammer won. I think the initial thing, John Henry won, but it killed him. But ultimately, over time, the steam hammer won. AI's going to win. And it's going to get rid of everything about coaching except presence, power, and your ability to perceive patterns in people's hearts, read between the lines. And you can lie to yourself about your coaching ability. This is not about challenging you. But if you don't tell the truth, you're done. You're out of business. And not only will your calling fail you, but your calling will fail you from an externality. Now, I'm telling you this in the context of me. So I had been asked for years, as I had developed as a coach, I've developed to be what people call at least, extraordinary, the ultimate alchemist. And, I've done lots and lots and lots of work, and okay, that's how I got there. People have often asked me to create a coaching school, and I said, never, no, because I'd seen so many schools, and I just didn't want to be another one. When I realized that coaching is going to put 95% of the coaches, or AI is going to put 95% of coaches out of business, I said, okay. It was impressed on me through the spirit, through intuition. I need to create a university, your Ultimate Life Coaching University, and the only students are the 5%, either those that are there or who want to be there in that 5%. So it's going to be completely, totally, absolutely, fundamentally different than any coaching school because of what we're focusing on. We're focusing on all and only those things that AI cannot do. And somebody told me, I saw an article that said every 3.3 months, AI doubles in ability. And I said something like that to a fellow who I had on my LA Talk radio show the other day, who's an AI expert and builds AI agents for businesses. He said, yeah, that's old news. Now it's doubling every 3.3 or 3 to 5 days, which is just scary as anything. I use ChatGPT a lot. I call it Chatty. And it is powerful and good. And so I can tell you the truth. It can write powerful language. It can do good stuff. It's encouraging. And I did a huge analysis of the vulnerabilities of, AI and other coaching systems and so forth. And I asked Chatty what it doesn't do. And I said, well, I can't bleed. meaning be so intensely in a place with a person that fire, that presence, that spirit causes, invites, empowers the changes that a person wants. So that is a way where my calling is evolving powerfully, and it's coming very soon, and it came on me hard. I didn't expect it. I'm recording this in June. You'll see it in July, but there's just a boatload of work, and I'm like gasping, and I'm doing it. All right, so let's back to this whole thing. The day your mission went quiet, maybe the thing you loved and were so committed to starts draining you. It becomes a drudge. It becomes something that's hard now. Maybe you're losing the spark. And when that happens, man, that is terrifying if you're a purpose-driven person. If you're a woman who has been driven by certain things that happened in your life, or a man that has overcome stuff and that was driving you, and all of a sudden that spark's gone out, you can feel very lost. Lies that come out of that is, I'm just tired. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it wasn't my thing. Or, I guess I'm done. I should be grateful for everything that I've done. Okay, that's true. You should be grateful. And you can be. And it has nothing to do with being tired. It has nothing to do with burnout. And it certainly doesn't have anything to do with that you were wrong. It means you were right. And you did it so well, it's time to grow. Why don't you think about it that way? Your spark has changed. And this is your invitation to find, to identify, and move into the new one. So when you followed that calling, you grew. You grew a business, perhaps. You grew a following. Maybe you wrote some books. You did that. Okay, but you didn't evolve the calling, and maybe it wasn't time to. So that isn't even a weakness, but you evolved and grew and put your power into it, and the calling didn't evolve. Maybe you used some different words. Maybe it changed a little bit with the segments of society and with time and stuff, but not fundamentally. And it is really a sign that you've outgrown your old mission. And I want you to think what a blessing that is. When that happens to you, that means you did it right. It means you stretched and pushed and exercised and worked and focused. And now you're in a new weight class. You're in a new league. You're called to greater things. It's time to step up and step out. So growing and having that evolve in a way that feels like it's gone is just a wake-up call. Not that anything was wrong, but that it's time to grow. Your time is now to get bigger, to grow the vision, to grow the opportunity. You know what? The tools like AI and others are evolving so quickly that the idea to grow your reach, grow your power, grow your mission, evolve it like in radical ways. Like I never thought about doing a university, but I'm going to now because I understand it. And I've done now 50, 60 hours of research with the very tool. And ask, what is necessary here? What's AI going to replace? And talked about all the different coaching methods I ever heard of, and some I hadn't. To do analysis and work to see what I really can give to this evolution of growth. So if you're burned out, it's not burnout. If you're feeling like your spark's gone, you're not wrong. You're just finished with that chapter. Not wrong, finished with that chapter. So when that happens, you can also experience grief. It may feel like you've lost something that was once your destiny. So you can say, wow, maybe I was wrong. Maybe that wasn't even my destiny. Am I how stupid? No. The grief is just grief, sadness, loss, right? Denial, anger, bargaining, resignation, acceptance. Maybe you'll go through all those stages lightly, heavily. But you have not been abandoned by the divine. You have been metamorphosized. You have been invited to grow. You have been invited to step into a new place. Consider that. That means you won. That means you did it right. That means you're heroic. That means awesomeness. And so even if you feel grief at having it change, that's fine. Feel into that. Anger might be there, denial, bargaining, I forgot the anger, denial, bargaining, resignation, acceptance. Those are the 5 steps. I might have them a little bit in the wrong order, but they iterate anyway. You're going to feel maybe some or all of those things, but it doesn't mean anything's wrong. It means it's time to grow. So go back in the fire. Go back to your more deeply. Because if you're doing this work of service, well, you're already in practices of meditation and prayer and focus and guidance and intuition and inspiration. You're already doing that. So deeper, more focused, get the guidance you need to grow the work. Get the guidance you need to step into the new place and plane of your opportunity. Now, you don't have to, but this is just an invitation, because I was thinking about, sometimes the things that derail us on this ultimate life thing, like you have it, or you think you have it, or things are going well, and then it feels like, it's not wrong. You didn't fail. You've outgrown it. So now what? So here's something to think about. And I said this wasn't burnout, so we'll call it sort of a shadow burnout. It feels a little like burnout, but it's not that. It's not exhaustion. It sure as hell isn't laziness, because that isn't how you got here. I want you to think about a great big furnace. I want you to think about a little furnace. In the basement of my grandparents' house, they used to have a coal furnace. And there was a fire in there. So the fire of a certain size, right? And in the furnace that was there, it looked like a big fire. But if I took that same fire and I put it in a great big furnace that was 50 times bigger, it would look like a little spark in the corner. So your furnace has grown. Your opportunity's grown. We need more heat. We need more passion. We need a new you. And that's not scary. There's nothing wrong with the one you are. It means that everything's right. And it is time to shed the cocoon again. It is time to step into the fire again. So it's not exhaustion. It's not laziness. It is a soul. You are a soul that needs a bigger fire. And I speak this with passion because I am doing that now. And this isn't the first time. This has happened, my radical transformation happened in 2007. It's 25 now, 18 years. It's happened 4, maybe 5 times. I think this might be the 5th time in these 25 years. Some have been, kind of big misalignments, and some have been radical alignment changes. So rejoice. It is an acknowledgement of your potential. It is direction for an opportunity to grow. Now, we can always say no. Screw it, I've had enough. I just want to binge Netflix and sleep the rest of my life. I'm not going to tell you what to do. What I can tell you is embracing that for me and leaning in, saying, I don't know how to do this. This is going to be pretty darn big. I'm going to need some help. It's, scary, all of that, but I'm going. I don't know this. I don't know that, but I'm going. That's the magic for me. It has energized. And I'll tell you something, even in the few weeks that it's been since I said that, several amazing opportunities have popped up. Things that wouldn't have popped up. That will both facilitate, advertise, populate, help with, whatever, this endeavor, this new set of wings. Powerful, powerful. So when you feel worn down, it's just a new calling. It's a new opportunity. So here's the first thing you can do. Don't mistake expansion for failure. You need a bigger fire. The fact that expansion is at hand does not mean anything you've done before is failure. It was preparation. It was refinement. So we're using the refiner's fire analogy. Going in the fire burns off impurities and dross. It allows the smithy, in this case the divine, to pound me or you into a fine, sharpened edge. But the first time that happens, that edge isn't anywhere near as sharp as it could be. Back in the fire. Pound it again. A more refined and powerful edge, capable of doing so much more. So don't shy away from the fire. You might feel, it might be an energetic misalignment because now you're being called to a new thing, and so it feels tired. Your body can get tired. You're going to have fatigue and tiredness. We all do. But there's a huge difference between that soul misalignment or that worry about, oh no, have I been, barking up the wrong tree? No, you haven't. You have won and you're successful. Own it and gasp in awe and amazement that you have been given the opportunity for more. Take it. Take it with a vengeance. I don't care if you know how to do it or not. I don't know this, I don't know that, it's scary, it's too big, this, and that. I don't care, but I'm going. That's your invitation to do that. Here are the things that I do. Listening in silence. One of the things that happens is when that noise, when that feeling comes, it gets frickin' frantic. Oh no, what am I going to do? And that gets noisy in the spirit, and whispering intuition is not noisy. The new call always whispers. Intuition is always quiet. In the Old Testament, there's a prophet, dude named Elijah, and he was looking for the Lord. And a whirlwind came by and a great storm, and then a great fire passed by the cave. He was in a cave, and they all passed by. And he said, the Lord wasn't in the whirlwind, he wasn't in the fire, he wasn't in the rage and the storm. And then there came a still small voice. I've mutilated the story. But point is, the power is in the still small voice. So look for it there. And don't let the confusion of change or the grief of sadness of loss get in the way of hearing the voice of inspiration. You've been called, so rejoice. That might mean you need to let go of a brand. That means you might need to let go of an audience, even products. And you need to do that without losing your soul. It doesn't mean what you had was wrong. It doesn't mean it wasn't valuable. And it doesn't mean it wasn't exactly right for where you were and what you were doing. And let it go with gratitude and openness and joy. And seek in silence the new power. And you'll let it go without losing your soul because your soul is connected to your purpose. And your purpose is now expanding and growing. Your ability to influence, your ability to experience the ultimate life, purpose, prosperity, and joy is now leveling up more skill, more ability to influence, more love, more passion, more reach. I love it. My goal is to reach 300 million people with what? This message, a message of purpose, prosperity, and joy. And what we're talking about today is the evolution after you've done that once or twice or three times. And the willingness to evolve again, even though it seems painful and it might feel a little lost. The other thing that we'll have to worry about is how to evolve in public without losing credibility. My path is just to tell the truth. I'm evolving. I'm adding something new, completely different, stuff I swore I'd never do. I've been called to do this. I'm doing this new thing, so I'm doing less of these and less of that. But don't hide it and don't pretend and don't abandon your commitments. If you made a commitment to do certain things for customers, clients, products, services you've had before, do them fully and completely with all inness, no half-assed, no mediocrity, because that very characteristic is the thing that called you to the new thing, is your perseverance. Your insight, your wisdom, your capability is now needed on a larger scale to do more things. And you won't keep it if you don't do integrity, if you don't complete with integrity everything that has come before. So that evolution is going to need to take place. And I invite you to explore it, seek it in silence, embrace it, and then lean in joyously. Dare greatly, experience deeply, lean in joyously. Life is a ride. You only live once, YOLO, right? Often that's meant as a saying to, do crazy stuff. Well, you do only live once. And so make the most of it. Make the most of you. Because remember, we came here with nothing to this world and we're going out with nothing. The only thing I'm going to take home is what I've made of myself. And I personally don't want to be the guy that said no to the divine invitation. And again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm framing these feelings and these events so you can have at least one possibility for you as to what they are. You're not lost. You weren't wrong. You're molting. You're transforming. You're moving to the next stage, 3D, 4D, 5D, 27D. You're doing that, so lean in and embrace it. Fulfill your old obligations with integrity and power. And then lean into what you are called to do. No fear, with certainty, and with power. Like I've declared to several people, I'm opening that university, and I still don't have a flip how to do any of it. I mean, yeah, I've taught lots of seminars and classes, so I can't say I don't have any idea. But there's lots of pieces that feel, at least now, new to me. Every calling that you have or that I have has multiple versions, multiple lives. And everyone's going to be bigger than the last. Everyone's going to be more profound. Everyone is going to take advantage of every new and refined skill, talent, gift, insight, wisdom that you've gained. So expect that. Lean into them. They're there for your growth. They're there for your opportunity. And it's time to say yes. So here's my invitation to you. If you'd like to chat about this, go right here to this KellanFluckigerMedia.com, and there's a contact form. Contact me. Let's talk. If you want help, my commitment is to help 300 million people. This university is just a new way that I'm going to do that. And it's for a very particular group of people. People who choose to be coaches, who see AI coming, and who want to stay in the game and not go do something else. Because anything, even quasi-excellence and below, is gone. Radical excellence, total commitment is all that's going to be left, and AI is going to eat your lunch if you're any of the rest, or my lunch if I'm any of the rest. So I invite you to come talk to me if you want to. If I can help you in some way. I invite you to read the book, Living with Purpose and Power. It's the book in which I poured all my years of work on how to create yourself into that book, how to create yourself as a powerful, creative, divine being every single day. And that's going to be more essential than ever for coaches that stay or want to stay in that 5%. And, you know, I've been talking about coaches, but it really isn't just the coaching profession. AI is going to get rid of everything below 50%. Excellence. You know, everything can be automated, will be. Everything that serves it, you know, pretty good and below is going to be duplicated. Jobs are going to change. They're going to be gone, and that's nothing to worry about. It allows you and me as infinitely capable divine beings to evolve into more meaningful, more creative, more powerful, more beautiful work. So let's do that. Whatever you're doing, every calling has multiple iterations, and that they will stretch as you do. What if this feeling, this change, isn't even failure at all, but it's just an invitation? And that's what I believe that it is. Certainly is for me. And based on my experience watching and helping others evolve and grow, next level, next level, next level, that's what it is for you. And all of this talk doesn't mean you're required to stay busy and grind all the time. That's not what evolution to the next level means. It means next level peace, next level prosperity, next level creativity, next level fun, next level joy, next level impact. Don't you want that? Of course you do. You know how I know? You're here. You're listening to this show with these messages. Me, guests, you. My last invitation is if you have a message you want to share, I'd love to be your megaphone. Again, reach out to me. The contact form on KellanFluckigerMedia.com. Above all, take this message deep into your heart, use it in the most powerful way you can, and create more and more of your ultimate life.
Never hold back and you'll never ask why. Open your heart and this time around.
Right here, right now. Your opportunity for massive growth is right in front of you. Every episode gives you practical tips and practices that will change everything. If you want to know more, go to KellanFluckigerMedia.com. If you want more free tools, go here, YourUltimateLife.ca. Subscribe.
Feet on the ground.
Share.
With your heart in the sky.